So, in we go. Frizzy and Marsh's time. Ayyubids in the hands of Dragevann. Baltune to the HRE. A map that historically has been dominant for the Roman Empire. But Ayyubids, they're the new kids on the block. And
we saw it with Ramen and Valdemar earlier, right?
Ooh,
like,
yes.
that was really, really deadly. Let's see if maybe Dragevann can imitate some of that magic. But here we go. HRE for Baltune versus the Ayyubids from Dragevann. Age-up already coming in. We got the Archon Chapel from Baltune. Nice spot, by the way. That's like a 9 out of 10 when it comes to the Archon Chapel here.
And you've got a double scout opener from the Ayyubids, which is just like really
Wait,
shocking.
Really?
Here.
I didn't. Oh my god, he did.
Not
He
HRE, who you'd expect to be doing this, by the way.
Patented by Core.
Dude, this is like 100% favoring. Like you know how this is. We talked about this before in the past, like 55-45 matchup, right?
Yeah,
Slightly
yeah.
favoring HRE. I feel like this is now 65-35.
Yeah, it might be. Like this timing, the Desert Raider is going to be way, way later.
And on top of that, like HRE, like, the way you break this open, you don't need food. You actually just need wood.
You know what? Maybe this is Dragovan's way of preparing for the next patch notes. For the next patch. He's like, okay,
when, like,
Desert
double
Raider is
scout
going to
feels
come out
worse?
later. It's fine.
Like I was talking about Voldemar about this. I actually think I'm not a big fan of the sheep change because I think it's just going to make one scout meta fully, and you're never going to see two scout again. Which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's nice to have those diverse openings.
Can we actually check? To the right of Baltune, I think there are a lot of sheep to the right of his base. And that... Yeah, there's like 3 more sheep over there.
Once again, sheep whisperer, like come to us, right?
Yeah, it's like Dragevann went double scout, but these sheep he will never get.
No.
There's a lot of sheep there, though. 16.
And also remember he's going growth wing, so that's how he offsets the issue around the scouting. But like growth wing, do you think it's really enough to offset HRE's advantage? Because like now you are playing more feudal, right, as Ayyubids?
It depends if HRE, like we saw it earlier, like if HRE moves out and they forget like the prelate with them, suddenly they're missing out on their entire economy bonus. And economic growth in general, many civilizations try to go to TC. Mainly because they know, okay, on 1 TC, I'm never going to be able to keep up with the economy from the HRE, so I naturally need that second TC. Ayyubids don't really need that because they go fast Castle Age, and they're at the villager count that they would be at if they did go 2 TC.
Like I'm wondering, like is it potentially an attempt at an advancement wing? Do you try and be greedy and go logistics, or is the madman going to do it and look at Bazaar?
I mean, it would be crazy if it's Bazaar, but it would be Dragevann.
It's like I'm wondering if it even works because if HRE just bulks feudal and they have like 40+ units, can Bazaar, even if you get like Bedouin swordsmen and Bedouin skirmishers, can they save you there?
The thing with Bedouin skirmishers is they don't get a bonus against ranged units, they get a bonus against all infantry. But to make up for it, they only have like +1 ranged armor, so they can still easily get taken out by ranged units.
Archery range opening, so Baltune is doing the expected here. Now, he is going to be supporting with racks. I've seen some builds where you just send spearmen instead of men-at-arms. I'm wondering if Baltune is a fan of that, because men-at-arms at this stage is quite expensive.
Yeah, men-at-arms definitely, you can't afford them early on. You want spears. Spears are like the burn unit that you want. Like if there's any building that's like outside of the protection radius of the TC. Oh, he actually got those for sheep. That I didn't expect.
You know what the crafty part would have been if Baltune had he's got wheelbarrow, if he just pulled a villager and walled him in.
That would have been a nice play, but yeah, I mean, Dragevann, his macro right now, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like the Castle Age is going to be coming in very shortly. One thing to note though is that he doesn't have an outpost yet. Instead, he invested into the stable first. Oh no! He cancelled the horseman. He had it in queue and then he cancelled, but the archer's going to be in time.
He actually had a desert raider in queue.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, desert raider.
Which is kind of wild. Like I think he realized it's a big mistake, but like it's kind of crazy. He even anticipated the desert raider would be what he needs against this, right? So outpost will go up in time. It's not the best outpost though. It's very defensive.
It is, but we saw the play from Valdemar earlier where he just pulled 2 villagers and puts his own outpost like on the opposite side. That's not going to be the case here because we see siege engineering coming in from Baltune.
That's right, ramping up quickly because like the reality of what Dragavann's doing here, he's going for a full tech cost, and this means what, camel lancers or golems. Either way, that's a pretty lofty gold cost here. You could be denied out before you have enough for more than say 2 or 3 units.
He might be the one that's getting clown card here in a little bit.
Honk honk might be on the way. Ram now being built up. I love this. Baltune's just like, I want you to know this is coming.
And there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, please tell me it's Bazaar.
Has to be. Like, I think you have to get crazy here, but like, you don't have the gold quick enough, right? If you go Bazaar.
Oh, it's a reinforcement wing.
Wow, so triple Desert Raider to try and repel this.
That doesn't work against archers.
And spears?
Yeah, both of them counter.
And you're also now a minute and a half away. Like, he has got a lot of people in the gold right now.
There's the clown cart.
Here we go. In, out, shake it all about. He's also got Steel Dagger in the way, so it should be easy to get kills. And Dragevann says, 270 gold will be enough?
2 Camel Lancers, count me in.
Please don't go Camel Lancers. Like, it has to be Gulems, right?
It needs to be in theory, but I don't see any barracks yet.
He might try to snake it next to the tree line on the west, so he can't see. Dude, look at Baltune. He already is aware. He's shifting around to get that info. He also wants to know, how much wood are you gathering? Is this potentially mass archers as a counter?
Yeah. You need the barracks right next to the TC. Oh, the villager's getting pulled. Baltune, is he going to be able to protect? Oh, he's pulling the ram back now. There's no units there, though. No wheelbarrow, though. Dragavann's villagers are kind of weak, and the reinforcements are coming just in time.
He pulls off the wood line as well. Dragevann has an insane amount of idle time here. He basically has 3 Desert Raiders to protect him and nothing else.
Ram
Gets away.
gets away. Scot-free. Barracks is coming up, though.
I
I like this a lot more now with the Golems in mind, mainly because you go Camelance, you get 2. You go Golems, you get 9.
Yes. And the interesting part is, like, right now, Baltune's kind of over-investing into blocking the wood when the real goal here is just to flood the Gulems, right? So as long as you get more and more food, you feel confident. Worst case scenario, maybe you like look to get enough wood to drop a trade post and you have to sell some food to get extra gold.
Ooh, Scout might be going down here to the Archer and Spearman. Oh, both go down. Okay, that's going to hurt Baltune more than Dragevann. And Ragnit's behind all of this now from Baltune. The timing is really good here on that one.
And the Desert Raider doesn't really like enable Dragevann to straight go for the relics himself, right? He didn't have the gold to even think about that. So tech out complete. Desert Raiders are out, but realistically, you can't just run 3 Desert Raiders into 5 spears, 6 archers like this, right?
Yeah, not at all. At this point in time, like, you got to go to your opponent's side because the Desert Raiders at home aren't really going to do anything for you at all. Dragon might also find himself housed relatively soon with that house going down. He's making another house now in the back. Does he have anything that he can do against the Ram at the moment? Not really.
And I feel like the Ram is just a distraction now, right? The H he's timing into castle here. This is where it gets a little bit weird, right? Like, I usually like these Golem timings, but against H in particular, a Men-at-Arms heavy mace switch is pretty brutal.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, hello. Nice houses you've got there. Let me go ahead, clown card towards them, and good luck stopping me. So all of a sudden, Dragevann, dude, the irony of this. The taste of his own medicine. This guy does this to people all the time.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I love the kid, but honestly, he's due this for what he's been doing on the ladder.
I like how you can like see the arm twitch from Baltune all the time. That's because he's like trick-shotting out there.
Yeah, we saw him earlier, man. Dude, I thought he had aim labs over this.
Dude, he's like one of those typical CSGO players. He's got the keyboard at like a 90-degree angle to himself, and he's doing like trick shots all over the place. It's such a weird way to play the game, but I'm loving it because it's just so different and works for him.
You know how you 360 when playing an RTS, right?
You just turn him around manually.
Yeah, you let go and you spin on your chair and then grab again. That's the brag right now. Crossbow's being masked up though, the perfect counter to what Dragevann is doing. And remember, with the marching drills, you can actually somewhat stay disengaged from those Gulems and get free hits in.
Yeah, you have more movement speed than they do. 1.19 compared to 1.24. That's a good deal.
Take it any day of the week. The charge is a little bit worrisome, but you can always block that, right?
Yeah.
Another scary thing is like Dragevann doesn't have blacksmith decks, right? So no undermesh to try and at least mitigate some of that damage.
He's getting the golden now finally again. He's been denied of it for quite a long time. Something else that's quite worrisome. If you look at the economy upgrades, he doesn't have any at all. Baltune has got all of them.
And on top of that, we've got veterancy for archers. Like, it's only 7 of them, but that damage tickles in, especially when you don't have the military upgrades on the side of Dragevann.
Yeah. Going from 6 to 8 damage against 4 armor. That's still a good amount of damage going through, and they have a lot more attack speed than normal, just normal crossbows there.
Dragevann really might benefit from upgrading these Desert Raiders. Like, I think if you go Castle Age Desert Raider, you should be getting veterancy pretty quick.
Yeah, it's definitely an important one. Relic? Oh no.
Dragevann.
Oh, no.
Dragevann.
No! Oh my god.
Dude, you are tempting fate.
God.
Genuinely, the scout saved him there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh my god.
I heard the sound cue stop That's how close that was. That was absurd. I can't believe he got away with that.
Yeah.
But Baltune still going to be able to look towards that relic. He can play blocker here. In this race, it looks like Baltune should get a 3-2 split in his favor.
Yeah, it definitely looks good for him right now when it comes to the relics overall.
Golem count is a bit scary, though. Maybe that's what keeps Baltune hesitant, right? Is like that classic feeling.
It's a lot, yeah.
If you run like 10 crossbows out, you just die. Another scary point, actually, with the comps they're both building is like, we have to remember, Ayyubids can build siege in the field. Like, one mango right now could unravel all of Baltune's plans.
Yeah, not just that. Like, Desert Raiders actually do become pretty good in mass, and with upgrades here, there we go. Another Scholar is getting sniped. Now with the main army, might be able to try and get this relic, but the Golems are there as well. Is this a fight that Baltune wants to take yet? I'm not so sure. He's got the crossbows in theory. The damage is coming through, and there's still no blacksmith upgrades.
No, but the problem is the spearmen are getting evaporated quickly, and they need to tank long enough. The Golems now leaking over the crossbows. Good micro there by Dragevann, but return fire with the A-click. Baltune moved the spears back in range, so he will be able to walk away with the backline still alive. But I think that might have been his last chance to get the deciding relic between the two.
Yeah, that was a lot of Golems going down. You only have like 6 remaining here now. More like 8, but
he does get the relic, right? And that was the whole goal, and the way you kind of get that victory. And although it seems Pyrrhic, what's now happened is Baltune has an entire army that gets cancelled out by a mango.
Yeah, this is a delta now of 240 gold that Baltune could have had if he had gotten that relic. It's at plus 80 gold going over to Dragevann per minute now. I'm gonna say it, like the Castle Age reinforcement wing is really growing on me, just how many units is getting out. Finally, the veterancy is coming in.
That's the crazy part. That was all without veterancy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm impressed, man. I think Dragevann is in a pretty solid position here. I mean, Baltune, he's going deeper and deeper into that hole, but he's got to be conscious of the fact that if he doesn't have siege workshops prepped, he's running himself into a dead end.
Behind that, though, once again, the economy upgrades. We're now getting level 2 food upgrade in as well. Level 2 on the wood gathering in already. The economy is still looking pretty even, though, the overall income.
Yeah, and Dragevann, like, just completely neglecting the eco-tech still. One kind of scary thing is, like, I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't started to move out onto the fish. He has reasonable map control, theoretically, from here.
Yeah, he got a lot of the sheep. Maybe he's just hesitant when it comes to moving out right now.
Yeah.
He's probably not sure just how much army he has now, because he was being contested for quite a while inside of his base by the army from Baltune. But now it's a safe moment-ish, I want to say. Like, he's got the army advantage right now, no doubt about it.
And then in classic Ager, you don't need to come out, even though they are, right? That's the beautiful thing, is Baltune is actively fishing. I think, obviously we have gold vision, it's easy for us to say. But it's kind of like Dragavann's almost in a position where he should be more confidently placed on the map than what he is right now. Maybe that's just a lot of respect being shown to Baltune, or just kind of a weird affair, because you don't usually see Achery Ayyubids with this style of play. Like, no one is doing the Desert Raiders. I think maybe there's an element where I know Dragevann believes in Desert Raiders, but you have to question how effective they're going to be in these fights, right?
Yeah, yeah. Crossbow mass overall favoring Baltune here by quite a bit, going up to almost 30 crossbows. Something to keep in mind, though. We're seeing, okay, for a second there was there it is again.
He's actually queuing up Desert Raiders actively now.
And that's not bad, because at least they don't take bonus damage from the crossbows. Grant, they don't have any pierce armor to begin with, so they still kind of flop over, but they don't flop over as much as other units, potentially.
Yeah, and they're not bad against men-at-arms if your opponent goes back there, right?
Yeah.
What a wild comp here. Dragevann, this is a guy who's been practicing Camel Rider only on the ladder. He's trying to make a point here. I think camels might be his favorite animal.
Might very well be. And with the amount of crossbows that he has as well, like, he's got a comparable number here. So when it comes to fights, whoever has the most amount of frontline should be favored here. And right now, with 11 Golems and 11 Camel Desert Raiders, that has to be Dragevann.
Is he creeping for it? Like, there's a lot of resources being floated right now by Dragevann. Nah, there's no way you try to rush Imp here.
He's getting Sultans, Mamelukes in. But yeah, I agree with you. Just mess up more units. Culture Wing Advancement is cheap in theory. But if you're not like 160, 170 pop, like close to pop cap, doesn't really make a ton of sense yet. Not while you're in theory like militarily ahead. It's something that you have to scout actively out there.
Baltune now marching forward. Just looking to constrict. Remember, he has got that Sacred Site timer ticking. He keeps locking in. And Dragevann now prepping the horsemen. So we are going to get a reinvestment.
Eco under TC. All the sheep are gone now. Now Dragevann has to move out.
I think that's where the Horseman transition is really nice, right? Because now you will have extra force across the map and ability to lock in.
It's so expensive, though. It is very, very expensive going for Mass Horseman. And Baltune, he's got a solid farming setup.
He almost looks like he's setting up for a Sacred Side victory. That's a lot of stone being gathered for the HRE.
It is. Slowly but sure, like, he's only got like a couple of villagers in stone, I feel like.
Yeah.
But with the inspiration, I think it's inspired probably, like, there was a stone mine relatively close to his Archon. Yeah, still not the best versus archers.
I think he actually, like, he's housed right now. Yeah, Dragevann a little bit slow to fix that because I think that's a blocking extra Desert Raiders at this point. There we go. I was about to say the numbers felt a little bit light, but overall, I'm wondering Baltune.
He might be going to him.
There's the market. Might kill him though, right? Like these Desert Raiders in this kind of quantity. With the timing he's looking at, the Dragevann might have a kill point if Baltune takes the bait and goes age 4.
The thing is, when you have this many crossbows, walking into your own base with the choke points can just exponentially increase their value in those fights.
But against Mass Horsemen and Desert Raiders that are hybridized, right?
It's still, like, the choke point means that there's maybe, like, 2 horsemen out of, like, 10 actively fighting at a given point in time. But the age up is coming in. I'm not sure if Dragovan's getting that, you know, that little bit of a deer whisperer.
Yeah, like, it's almost like he just instinctively feels it right now. Something seems off, something seems wrong. Why is Baltune backed up? And also Baltune, he did prep the fortifications ahead of time, right? This is very interesting, so it means he just needs to rush cannon emplacements to front line with defenses here.
At the same time, Baltune getting a couple of units in the back line, forcing a lot of idle time out of Dragovan's villagers here that were on food.
That's an insane amount. That's what almost 30 villagers running around for Dragevann right now, and he has no food in reserve. The dive comes in. Palace of Swabia, about 15 seconds out from complete. Baltune has got more men-at-arms being prepped, but the crossbow mass is already insanely large for Dragevann.
It is. Dragevann, insane army mass here right now. H-up just came in. There's multiple outposts here from Baltune now. One even reinforced with the sprinkler placement.
I mean, he might be able to get the other one before it fortifies here. There's no cannon emplacements on the way. Elite crossbow tech is being prepped. Baltune starts to dive, looks at the trades. With Mamluk's Bravery, just not a favorable way for Baltune to engage. So, blocker on the front resources. This is a game where he's got 2 relics, but that is not a lot of gold to work with in Imperial Age.
It isn't, definitely isn't. You need a lot more gold now that you hit Imperial Age. All the upgrades, not only are they more impactful, but also a lot more expensive. And now we're going to be seeing some mangonels coming in. Yeah, the front line, the units that are actually going to be protecting the mangonels, there's not too many of them.
Getting a bad feeling. A really bad feeling for Baltune right now.
The Rams are coming in now as well. The army peaks immediately. Dragevann reacts. 22 horsemen for him now.
You can't just dive past there, right? You kind of have to brute force your way, which is why Dragevann might want more than 2 Rams here, but it's expensive, especially when you know your opponent could be prepping siege to clear you out.
Yeah. And now there's a Mangonel, or another Manjani coming out from Dragevann. First Mangonel from Baltune though. Shot is going to come in, lands on the cavalry, not doing too much damage there. But the entire front of the base has been destroyed.
Yeah, and you know, the Mango, it's interesting. Dragevann, he cancels his own ambitions to go towards that, sees the opportunity now, understands that there might be shot triggers on the way.
Behind that, I also like that he paid attention and got the Sacred Side going for himself now.
This dive is difficult.
It is. It is. Elite has come in on all of those crossbows.
Surge forward. Desert Raiders are in melee form right now. They really want to be in range form. Switches over now. Tries to clear the front line. Mango, in the meantime, is going to get some value here. Dragevann just trying to brute force against one of the hardest civs to do this against. Spearman coming out in mass as well. Baltune looks like he might be able to buffer this away. And Dragevann starting to lose some valuable units here.
He does. Still has the military elite for the moment. However, when it comes to the value, the elite crossbows do definitely pack a punch here. And behind all of that, Baltune, he does have that Palace of Swabia going for himself. And we see a 16, 17 villager lead for him right now. And that's just going to continue to climb as the game goes on.
Such a hard civ to always dive through. Those starting emplacements forcing you to rush instead of taking your time, taking it with stride. And Dragevann now might take one punch to the neck here. This is looking grim. Spearman Mass can just pretty much counter everything Dragevann is doing now.
Yeah, and it was kind of rough that most of Dragovan's front line was those horsemen. And against the mass of Spearman that Baltune prepped, and there we go. GG gets called 2-0 on the board now for Baltune.
And what a demoralizing game that has to be, right? Think about it from Dragvann's perspective. He felt he had the mass. He felt he had the bulk. We've all been there against HRE.
Definitely felt like it, yeah.
I think like HRE is the most toxic civ alongside English for this, right? You're like, this will be enough to kill him. And then 2 minutes later, your army is smaller. Just a brutal game. I hope Dragvann's able to kind of mentally reset from that one, because I think those are the type of games. We saw it earlier. I think Ramen had one of those as well, where like you kind of feel like that game sticks with you, but you can't allow it to, right? It's that classic mindset of like, game is done, learn, move on, what next?
What do you think is the lesson here? Don't fight in choke points against Siege?
Probably. Like, I think the lesson here is when you play against HRE, if you know they're imping, you kind of have to set a backup plan that isn't killing them, because unless you have an insane military lead, it just never seems to break them.
That's usually why we see a lot of civilizations like against HRE in the Castle Age and like later stage of Castle Age, instinctively adding in a couple of additional TCs.
Yeah. And it's like, I liked his plan around Desert Raiders. You said it in the cast. You're like, I'm starting to be a bit convinced of this. There might be some magic to it. But is it just a classic? The bigger issue is HRE too good?
That's a usual story, isn't it? A recurring theme time and time again. 40% bonus economy is quite nice. And we kind of saw like the main difference between this game, the way this game played out, compared to the game between Ramen and Valdemar, where we had the similar matchup on the same map. It's a difference of really making use of the HRE bonus economy, but not going too crazy on fishing. Instead, you do commit to your farms, because even though fishing is like the best food source baseline, farms with Archon are still better.
Exactly. And, you know, it can work out if you're playing Mass Prelate, which is an interesting detail. Like, he did actually play Inspired Warriors, so he's kind of leaning that. I was talking to Baltune, like, he actually thinks it's quite nice, HRE. I know some players are kind of mixed on that. It takes a lot of population, but when you're not capped, it works out nicely.